was once New York's most arrogant, the beloved third daughter of the Mafia Don. Now my wrists and ankles were locked in iron chains, pinned to a basement bed. The room was pitch black. I hadn't eaten or drunk anything in days. All I wanted was to die.
A tall man came from the bedside. He poured a scorching aphrodisiac into my throat, and then forcibly pressed his body tightly against me.
Had you not interfered, she'd still be mine. You're so desperate for this. I'll give you exactly what you want.
After a brutal night of forced intimacy, my tears were streaming down my face. He let out a low, mocking laugh.
Princesa Cara, look how far you've fallen.
When I disregarded him, he had a swarm of beggars brought in.
Do whatever they pleased with Miss Cara.
My breath thin and fragile, I held his gaze in stubborn defiance.
Kill me if you must. Why bother with cruel humiliation?
The man in front of me was Elias Walker, the underboss who had put the new Dawn in power. He was also the man I had once chained to my side like a madwoman. He stared at me with unbridled hatred.
Humiliation? What you once did to me, Miss Cara, was far worse.
I perished in agony and shame. Blood from my broken body soaked the cold stone floor. After my death, he ordered my body dumped in a mass grave. When I opened my eyes again, I found Elias Walker fully stripped, locked inside an iron cage, and hung from above. To inflame his senses, the head maid poured a honeyed aphrodisiac all over his bare body. He let out a few soft, ragged gasps. I remember I had chained him to the bed with iron shackles, dosed him with heavy drugs, and violated him utterly, only to keep the proud Elias Walker by my side. After I spent the night tangled with him, he still tried to run away. At dawn the next day, I ordered my men to break his legs. It wasn't until his childhood sweetheart, Lila, finally returned that he was pulled out of the gutter. She took him to Don Valentino's estate and dragged him from the brink of ruin. Later, Elias stood by Lila's side and helped her seize power to reign as the underworld's sovereign queen. It wasn't until the dying breath that I understood. To him, my love was nothing but a burden and a chain.
What new trick has Miss Cara come up with to torment me today?
A familiar voice made my heart stumble. I came to my senses and looked again at this devastatingly handsome man. And then I realized I'd been reborn. The damage was already done. I couldn't change what he thought of me. This time, I would let go of my paranoia and obsession, and choose to let them be together.
Guards, release him. Now!
Once they settled him into a chair, I knelt down and gently stroked his leg. Elias watched me coldly. The moment I drew back his pants, his eyes blazed with revulsion. He let out a cold laugh.
Look at me now. And you still want me, Principessa?
I didn't humiliate him the way I used to. Instead, I applied the ointment to the scarred skin on his leg, slow and careful, rubbing gently. He wore a faint look of shock.
What is the meaning of this, Princess?
I stand up, pointing straight at his leg.
Your leg injury can be cured. Use topical healing ointment daily. Get targeted therapy and therapeutic massage, plus medicinal baths. Make a full recovery in 3 months.
A flash of joy flickered in his eyes, only to dim instantly.
Whether my leg heals or not, I am already a ruined man. What difference does it make?
I lowered my head and kept my voice soft.
You have extraordinary talent. You will be a pillar of this family one day. Don't sell yourself short.
Elias scoffed, shooting me a sidelong glance. To him, it was utterly absurd that I, who had hurt him, was now offering him comfort. I offered no rebuttal, only holding his gaze as I spoke softly.
Lie down on the bed.
Elias curled his lips into a mocking smile. Expression cold, he wheeled to the bed, braced himself, and inched onto the mattress. Slow, stiff, agonizing. He lay motionless, frigid and drained.
Do as you please, Princess. Just be quick. I am worn out.
I caught my breath, then settled on the edge of the bed. Elias truly bore a face devastating enough to entrance all. Even reduced to such a wretched state, he still exuded an otherworldly cold pride. I slowly ran my fingers over his skin. Then my hands moved to unfasten his trousers next. Elias shut his eyes.
It will sting. Hold on.
Right after, I pressed a fine medical needle into the key trigger points on his leg. Elias's eyes snapped open. His face broke, just for a second. He stared at my hands.
What are you doing?
Clearly, I'm giving you localized needling therapy. I'll release your damaged fascia with targeted pressure, paired with soft tissue massage. An hour of treatment each day will be enough.
I said softly.
This injury is my fault. From today on, I'll tend to your rehab and massage your muscles daily until you fully recover.
Elias clenched his fist, his body turning taut and stiff.
Is this some new ploy of yours?
He seized my arm abruptly, holding me trapped beneath his piercing gaze. In his past life, I broke his legs, but he'd never been this shaken. Elias Walker had never feared torture, yet he feared kindness. Gentleness clouds the mind, and slow tenderness kills. I gave him no explanation, merely focusing on his leg injury. I was Don Vito Sovino's daughter, raised in blood, betrayal, and cruelty. Yet I learned to become a doctor, so no matter who abandons me, I can save myself. In his past life, illness and broken legs destroyed Elias's spirit. He pushed Lila away, and she chose another man. Crushed by despair, he fell into darkness, growing into a ruthless and terrifying underboss. But the first time I ever saw him, he was strikingly handsome, cold pride written between his brows. Mastered the family's strategy, been a poor genius with a mind that came once in a century. Yet later, I watched him caress his incurable legs beneath the dusk. Elias smiled, soundlessly. After that, he became the cleaner. Men called a monster. He knew deep down that he was no longer worthy of the girl he loved. So he drank the poison wine, in one long swallow. Now he sat across from me on the bed, our eyes locked. His gaze was dark and endless. Thank God. I'd returned when his legs could still be healed. I tossed his coat to him, my tone cold and detached.
I have no interest in you anymore. Leave my estate once your leg has healed.
I arranged for Elias Walker to recover in my private suite. Word spread instantly.
Miss Cara had grown bored with him. The pretty Mr. Walker had fallen out of favour.
I heard it and felt uneasy. I went to check on him. The winter air was cutting, but the private suite Elias occupied had no heater running at all. Elias sat at the mahogany table and was quietly immersed in a heavy old book. When he looked up, a strand of hair fell across his striking face. My heart slammed.
Why has Miss Cara come here?
I walked toward him, and then I reached out and touched the back of his hand.
Exactly as I expected. Cold as ice. Why don't you have the heat on?
Without the Principessa's favor. I am merely a discarded pawn in every soul's sight.
I could not tell if it was just my mind playing tricks. Brutality lingered in Elias's smile, sending a cold shiver through me. That chilling gaze reminded me of his past self. Bloodthirsty, unforgiving, he crossed mountains of corpses, paving a bloody way for Lila to reign as the Donna.
Your injury cannot be exposed to cold. The really snow withs to the meath. Elia, and who touches you answers to me. Tell me what you want. Every wish you make, I make it real. No one lays a hand on you unless I say so.
Elias stared at me for a long moment.
Miss Cara, I only need heat, pen, and paper.
Only these? Those maids who mistreated you, what do you want done with them?
Let them go without meat and heat for the next half a month.
I smiled. This was the Elias I'd always known. In the last life, everyone called Elias a devil, but I understood he only lived by one rule: good for good, evil for evil. Give back exactly what was given. Every cruel thing Elias ever did was to seize power for Lila. Not once did he act for himself. He drank the poison wine, in one long swallow. Even his final moments were filled with loving regret. In his mind, I had always been the cruel principessa who ruined his life. Only Lila had ever been his salvation.